Good morning. Like every year, this year we have assembled and like Kumar talked to us about what our body is doing. One of the initiatives we started sometime in 2010, NSTC was coming up with Sector Skills Council, and that's the time, we talked among ourselves, Nagesh, Kumar and myself. We said we'll start a Retail Skills Council. So it has been a journey of last 4 years now. 2010 September we discussed, September, October we discussed. We got incorporated sometime in 2011. We got some funds from Government of India, 3.5 crores sometime in 2011-12. And 2013 was the full year of operation. And in the 1 year, we trained 260,000 people in the retail skills, just in 1 year. So that was actually national record. So the Government of India had identified 16 Sector Skills Council. We were actually the first to start, and we were the first to complete the training of 260,000 people. Like Kumar said, 33 million, 3.3 crores people work in retail industry, but he included organized and unorganized. Organized in India is very small. If you look at, it is just 7.5% of the total retail business. Retail currently, if you take an estimate, it will be $600 billion business. Retail generally moves with the GDP growth. So GDP slowed down, retail had a slower growth in the last 2-3 years. Now again GDP, it was in the last quarter, it is 5.7%, which is very good. If it continues, it will be excellent for the country. And with that, retail will again grow. When organized retail grows, for every $1 billion business, you need something like 15 to 20,000 people. And if it is you are in the value retail space, say for example grocery, etc., you need more people. And if you are in lifestyle retail, say apparel, jewelry, etc., you need lesser number of people, but still you need something like 10,000 people for every $1 billion of business. And average you say 15 to 20,000 people. If you take a rough estimate of a $600 billion retail business, 7.5% is organized. We are something like $45 billion business. So in our country, we are recruiting something like nearly 900,000 people to 1 million people in this industry. This industry, like Kumar said, is very young. When we started Reliance Retail, I was the first employee in 2005 October again. And that time I actually took a rough estimate that the entire industry was something like 1,000 crores. And 1,000 crores means you can calculate 2,000-3,000 people in the entire industry. And those days Mr. Ambani talked about investing a lot of money into this space and said it will grow big. Today Reliance Retail is 17,000 crores, growing 30-35%, profitable now. So as I saw Reliance Retail, I got associated very closely with the industry, Retail Association from India. And then I found actually what we are suffering from is the skills need. So initially we migrated talent from other industries to retail industry when we started in 2005-06 because the other consumption industries were there. And then increasingly we realized we actually need to create the supply side of the talent and skills for this industry. So this industry is a good industry now. It has nearly 1 million people working in the organized side. When 1 million is in the front side of the retail, you will always find the distribution and logistics will be supporting another 1 million people in employment. So it goes hand in hand. So if you look at the total skills in this space, 1 million will be in the front side and 1 million will be warehouse, distribution and logistics. So 2 million people work in the organized side of retail. So as you keep growing from unorganized to organized, the numbers will keep increasing. The people come to this industry are at the bottom of the pyramid. So you need to, these people, you want them to come from poorest areas of the city and work in the richest malls, in the luxury lifestyle stores where the richest people of this country will visit and buy. And how do you make them ready to interact with them? Because people from rich families or very well-educated families are not going to come and work in retail stores as associates. The salary is very low. Whosoever I ask, they say start with the minimum wages. Minimum wages is really low. And in many states, for political reasons, they have kept it even lower. You'll be surprised, in some of the states, minimum wages is as low as 4,000 rupees. So it doesn't work. So how do you make it sustainable? How do you take care of your people so that your HR practices are sustainable? So I was actually thinking when we were building up and growing this business, I said it's actually one factor is compensation. The second more important factor is actually career. So you can provide career to these associates who joins today as an associate at 5,000, 6,000 rupees. Now it is a little more. In Bombay-like cities, it is 7,000, 8,000 rupees. If in his career he can grow to a store manager, he can get actually in the smaller stores, grocery stores like Reliance Fresh, 25,000, 30,000 rupees. And in the other stores like the supermarket stores, he can get much more. So his life changes with his growth in career, and compensation grows along with the career. I said probably if we focus on skills development, competency development, and support the person grow in his career, then it is sustainable for him. Because if he is not sustainable, our business is not sustainable. The center of this business in one side is actually customers, and in the other side, the employees who serve the customers. So to make this business sustainable, you have to focus on that associate, not from the compensation angle, because if you say, I want compensation, the employer has to see whether it is affordable cost. But if you say, I want career for my people, the employer will say whether the person has competency for the career. If you say, these employees, if you ask, they say, we want to work in a respectable place, so the culture should be good. So if you analyze, the employee is looking at compensation, career, and culture, and the organizations are looking at what cost. Can I run this business at this cost? Is it affordable? And career, these guys are talking about, does he have competency? And what culture is talking about? I need contribution. So the employer, the owner, the management, the leadership team, they are actually constantly focused on competency, contribution, and the cost. And the employee is focused on compensation, career, and culture. So HR sustainable practice for HR leaders is, making the equilibrium, matching these different needs of these two different segments of the people, and the HR leaders get salary from their employers. So too much you talk for employee advocacy, your job is gone. You have to take care of your job first. So how do you actually make a sweet blend? How do you make that equilibrium so that it is sustainable? So one is pertaining to your company. So the skills, the competency is a win-win for both. And it has matching needs, both from the employer side, the business side, and then the employee side. We said let's focus on that. We started RASCI. RASCI has a very strong team now. It started with me alone from my office. And I had one person again from my team worked initially on this all the 2010-11. And after we got some fund, I hired one full-time person in 2012. Then I supported with some 2-3 people, and then currently we have 7 people, very competent people, outstanding people that work with me. And then this year, we are actually consolidating. We are moving from the generic store associate preparedness skills to the specialized skills in different luxury lifestyle and other specialized retails. When we started the retail skills qualification pack, we actually benchmarked with Australian Skills Council, UK Skills Council, Singapore Skills Council, and we defined the competencies that is global. Because what we believed, if these people can work in India, how do we make them actually possible for them to work anywhere in the world? So we can certify them, and that certification should be at a global level. For that, you need actually buy-in from other countries. So we got that done. So we are at the second stage of growth in terms of moving towards specialization. But what is happening when, like Kumar was talking about, we are no longer a young industry. We are 15-year-old. Actually, we have become a teenage industry. So we have all the behaviors of the teenage in this industry. And the other problem is happening is, before we become adult and fully grow and fully contribute, the carpet under our feet is moving. So the consumption is no longer through the physical retail stores. The digital retail stores are growing so rapidly. When we are growing at the industry level 20-odd%, they are growing, some of them over 100%. If you look at what's happening in the e-commerce space is actually shaking up the entire retail industry in the world. If you notice what has happened in UK, what has happened in US, the largest retailer, if you are actually tracking the news, some of the big celebrated CEOs have lost actually their jobs in the recent past. Because the retail same store growth is not happening, the retail industry as physical retail is not growing. So the physical retailers are worried a lot because India is like a free market, so we can start and do anything anywhere. So we're still growing 20%, but it is not growing even single digit, lower side of the single digit in the Western world, and they're worried. What is coming? The e-commerce or the m-commerce, whatever you call it, is shaking up the whole industry, and omni-channel or multi-channel is becoming the buzzwords in the physical retail industry. Now when the industry changes, for this kind of a shift, it needs actually different kind of preparation in terms of skills in people. Now McKinsey did recently a study of the 12 disruptive technologies which will next 10 to 15 years completely change the world economy in terms of displacement of value. So they said total GDP of the world today is $87 trillion. And these 12 disruptive technologies in next 10 years will displace the value something like $30 trillion. GDP of US is $16.8 trillion. China is $9.8 trillion. India is $1.8 trillion. And Japan, UK, all that put together, there will be displacement of value. When the displacement of value happens because of the technologies, many old industries, actually they die unless they prepare for the new technologies and new skills. That is precisely happening to various industries. And recently I was studying a report in the US, retail industry is supported by the supply chain industry, the logistics industry. So because of big data and 3D printing, just the two interventions, two newest technologies, supply chain industry is going through massive changes. So supply chain industry, the total size of the industry is $10 trillion. And in US alone, anything that happens anywhere in the world, 15% to 20% of that happens in US alone. So in US alone, what they are finding, like for example your cell phone. Today you are ordering a cell phone, it is coming your home. You know, this cell phone to be produced, it has 50 to 60 components manufactured in 50, 60 different factories in 8, 10 different countries. So its camera is manufactured in one place, its chip, the SIM card is manufactured in another place. Different parts of this is manufactured in different places of the world. And now because of 3D manufacturing, you know, it can get printed. So the supply chain industry is finding out, rather than sourcing it from one specific country, getting it assembled in that country from 50 different places and supplying to the consumer in another country, it can actually get 3D manufactured closest to the customer. So the supply chain industry is going through drastic changes. Now when this industry is getting affected, they identified, they have 1 million people in US, they work in the supply chain industry. They said these people need reskilling. The existing people, they cannot work in the new changed technology environment. So they are actually training in next 2 years, and in US everything happens fast. So in next 2 years, they will be training 1 million people in the new supply chain skills because of the change in technology. I am giving you just one example. The similar things will happen in almost every industries. The outcome of that in the retail industries, retail is actually a convergence of the industries. Any product gets manufactured anywhere, gets delivered to the consumer through the retail channel. Either earlier retail, so far, now e-commerce. Now all those changes in technologies, when it impacts the manufacturing and the supply chain and distribution logistics, will start resulting in reflecting in the retail area. So that we now need to introspect what all those skill changes are required and how should we be prepared for. That is one side. The second is, when the e-commerce is expanding so rapidly, the consumption level of the customer is not increasing that rapidly. He is just choosing the channels. He was earlier coming to the store buying, now he doesn't want to come to the store, he is ordering from home. Like, say for example, my family. We order the vegetables and fruits from Green Cart. We order rice, dal, grocery from Local Banya. We order apparels from, Amazon or Flipkart or Myntra and one of them. We don't go to actually physical stores anymore. Electronics from one of them. We don't go to physical stores. We don't go. And like people, most of the people have stopped visiting physical stores. Every hour cost of people like us will be something like 5,000 to 20,000 rupees. Hourly cost. So why do we need to go to the store if we have the comfort of ordering at home and getting the same experience? When that industry actually starts, growing so rapidly, how it will impact the physical stores and how the physical stores as a business itself will be sustainable needs to be thought through. Now the business leaders of this country and the rest of the world, I am noticing, they have actually started thinking how to make it sustainable. And they are talking about omni-channel, multi-channel, etc. And the industry is getting prepared because always there is survival instinct. Now that reflects on the skills development aligned to those changes, and that has to be thought through by the HR leaders, training leaders here. And as an industry body, we should facilitate that process. So those are the kind of things I am now noticing what is going to happen next 8 to 10 years in this world. What will then happen in the US in next 2 years, will happen in China in the 3rd year, and will happen in India in 4th or 5th year. But it is going to happen. So the wind started blowing, the new emerging technologies have started impacting. My suggestion will be, let's look at how that will impact our industry, what are the skills preparedness for our industry, and how do we all get prepared.